First of all, everyone, thank you very much for your interest and joining us today for this session to tell you more about the EMEA Edison Accelerator, which is GE Healthcare's and Wayra's startup and scale-up acceleration and healthcare provider collaboration program. So what we want to do today is to spend some time with you to walk you through a couple of, let's say, key components of the program, how it looks like, what we want to do, right? Why we believe a couple of things we have put together here are relevant for this type of program in the healthcare space. Yeah, and then walk you through, let's say, the problem statements and use cases we have put together and we want to build solutions for. So, Thomas, when we go to the next slide. So look, this is the team here today for you. My name is Jan, as you can see on the screen. I'm leading what we call the digital ecosystem at GE Healthcare on the digital side in Europe, which means a couple of different things. But one of the things is to kind of run the Edison Accelerator program in the region. This is me, and beside myself, you can see also on the screen and on video Thomas from Wayra, who is program managing the Edison Accelerator. And then next to him, you can see three more people, which are maybe the most important ones to run this program. On our side, you can see Ilham, Leslie, and Jane. They will also spend time with you later on and talk about our three different use cases. And Leslie, Ilham, and Jane are what we call track leaders. We have three tracks. You will see them later on, and the three will be responsible to get to a positive result at the end. Yeah? And I think Ilham, Leslie, Jane, when you then talk a little bit about, let's say, the three different tracks and the use cases, maybe you can say a few more words about yourself. So look, I just mentioned this program is, from our perspective, on one hand side, right, a collaboration program with startups and scale-ups, and maybe, and I come to this in a second a little bit more, maybe the term that we have chosen, calling it an accelerator for what we want to do in 2021, is maybe even not the right name. Maybe it's more, and I think, Thomas, you mentioned this, maybe it's more a venture builder, actually, right, what we want to focus on this year. But I'll talk about this in a second a bit more. Right, so it's a program where we, the big corporate GE Healthcare, and I will talk about GE Healthcare in a second a little bit more, is working with startup and scale-up companies, and then bring you together. And I think this is critically important to innovate in healthcare. Bring you together with healthcare provider institutions, right? And by bringing you together with them, making sure that you work on things, you build things in a way that it's making an impact and it's solving the problem, right? So healthcare providers will be a central component in this program. They will be close to all the companies we will work with, have, let's say, kind of steering power in the development, if you will. But I'll talk about this in a second a little bit more. But let me for now spend a few minutes on this page and let me walk you through this, because I really think this is important to understand. So what you can see here is, first of all, on the, let's say, lower left-hand side, the logo of GE Healthcare. And again, I talk about our company a little bit in a second. What we bring to the table in this program is, first and foremost, what we call the Edison platform. And you will hear about this as well a little bit later, which is a technology stack, right? And I start simple right now, which is a technology stack to build AI solutions, but then also deploy them within healthcare workflows. So we provide this tech stack, this platform, and with it, because we want to make sure you can really be successful, we also bring to the table engineering support, right, for our Edison platform, maybe even data science support if that's required, to really do our best to enable you to be successful. And then at a later stage, we also, right, when we think about at some point about go-to-market, for example, we bring to the table access to our global customer base, access to our global sales force, right, trying to help you then to have a kickstart into the market. And then, right, talking about you see a bubble called startups there. I mean, here we are, let's say, expecting to work or bring solutions, right, that maybe already exist and integrate them into our systems and the Edison platform, but solutions that, provide, let's say, a fit to the use case, to the problem statement we have defined, right? And when I say we have defined, it has been defined by healthcare providers and G Healthcare together the last couple of months. And this leads me to this bubble on the upper right-hand side, healthcare providers. And maybe this one is also the, let's say, the differentiator or USP of this program compared to other corporate accelerators, right? And when I say corporate acceleration programs, in a traditional sense, it's maybe, right, and I oversimplify again, it's a big corporate coming up with a fancy problem statement, and then is looking for startups to work with and build solutions. I think this approach does not work in healthcare. And as we believe in this, we said, hey, we need to find a way to build an accelerator that works in European healthcare. And we said on day one, when we designed the program, we need to get healthcare provider institutions on board, right? Because, I mean, we as a big global medtech corporate, of course, have a good idea of what are problems, pressing problems in healthcare that we could solve with digital and AI. But much better, this is known by the people that are on the ground in the field, right, doing healthcare each and every day. So we went and met with healthcare provider institutions, spent time with them, run ideation workshops, right, define problems together, pressing problems together that we want to solve with your help, right, as part of this program. So and then those healthcare provider institutions did not just help designing the use cases or problem statements, they will also be very close to you, as I just said earlier. They will provide clinical mentorship, healthcare mentorship, guidance, right? And also they will be able to some extent to like steer and influence the development. And then at a later stage, right, when we are, let's say, nearly there, they will provide you the opportunity to run like a pilot or proof of concept to really see if the solution really works. Right, and you can see here on the screen, there are two of several partners we will work with. Alliance Medical in the UK is one big healthcare provider institution. Another one you can see on the screen is Ribera Salud in Spain. And then we also have a couple of other groups, like from the UK NHS, and we have other large academic institutions we will work with over the course of the next couple of months. So then the role of Wayra, I think, Thomas, I think you talk a little bit about this later on, so I just skip this for a second. And then when you just go back to the previous slide for one more second, there is this circle we just have seen, right, when we go back to this partnership model or stakeholder page, this one, thank you, what is called technology providers. Just to let you know, we are in conversations with a couple of, let's say, industry players you know very well, right? I just throw to you names like Intel, NVIDIA, AWS, which are global partners of G Healthcare, right? And we are discussing with them right now how they can contribute to this program. Yeah. So there are a couple of things you will see over the next couple of weeks evolving on that space. But what we try to do is to bring some power from the big tech to this program to enable and kind of bring even more ideas we have in mind, right, and bring them to life. When we go to the next page, please. Yeah. So look, maybe just one more minute talking about this importance of healthcare, of the role of healthcare providers in this. And maybe at some point when we have Q&A or later on, I mean, I would love to get educated a little bit more, but maybe two of the main things we see startup companies in the healthcare or healthcare AI space struggling with is, on one hand side, and I just talked to an early stage company this morning, access to healthcare know-how and expertise, right? This is one, and this is what we provide here. And second is, of course, data. But let me stick to the healthcare provider for now. So I explained to you, right, those partners we have designed the use cases, problem statements with them. They will be close to the development. We will kind of connect the Edison platform to their environment, get their data, right? For some of our use cases, we then need to anonymize and de-identify this data, and then you can build. Yeah. And then at a later stage, they provide, like, as I said, pilot, proof of concept, and so on. We said when we do this, right, bringing together one healthcare provider institution with a startup or scale up, they can build fantastic solutions together that really fit to the use case, to the problem, and can be a solution. But there is also a risk, which is that the solution built works perfectly well for this single healthcare provider institution, what I call the validation partner, but it's not scalable. So therefore we said, hey, we need, in our model, we need like a second pair of eyes. This is what you can see on the left-hand side, what we now call consulting partners. Maybe not the perfect name, but those are other healthcare provider institutions, maybe even in another European country, that can also like provide mentoring, can influence and steer, but they are like watching from the outside, right? So they are looking to this, let's say, development sandbox that is installed close to the validation partner site. And they can also they will talk to you, they will spend time with you, they will give their opinion and feedback and so on, but really like a second pair of eyes to really make sure we build solutions that are scalable. Next slide, please. So look, let me spend maybe 2-3 minutes just talking about G Healthcare, because I believe some of you do not know what we at this global medtech corporate do. First and foremost, we are, I would really say, a global medtech powerhouse. So what you can see on the slide, we are organized in different business lines, and each of which is used in like the diagnosis, treatment, and the monitoring of patients. So one thing, for example, is imaging. Maybe that's the biggest space we play in, right? Where we talk about building and selling MRI machines, right? So medical imaging devices, computed tomography machines, molecular imaging, X-ray, and those kind of things. Then we have an ultrasound business, right? I think this is, a very important business unit of ours, and I think most of you know what ultrasound is about. We have life care solutions, where it's all about, let's say, clinical monitoring and acute care systems, right? And then, of course, complementary software and services for things like the ICU or intensive care, anesthesia delivery, diagnostic cardiology, perinatal care, and so on and so forth. The fourth one you can see on the screen is what we call enterprise digital solutions. Here it's really about enterprise digital consulting, healthcare technology management offerings designed to improve efficiency in healthcare delivery and expand global access to advanced healthcare, yeah, and so on. And then fifth is what we call our PDX or pharmaceutical diagnostics business, right? Here it's about, let's say, imaging, contrast, media, molecular imaging agents to really enhance the acuity of diagnostic imaging. And I think in all those segments, we are in a leading position globally. And what all those five, let's say, business lines share is a common horizontal capability in, let's say, things like go-to-market, supply chain, digital platforms, bring efficiencies and scale to their global efforts. So look, when we go to the next page, thank you, Thomas. So look, what you can see here is that, let me just have a quick look that I see the slides as well. I mean, what you can see here is a couple of, I mean, from my perspective, quite impressive numbers. We, what us really drives at G Healthcare is, let's say, the technological innovation in healthcare. And for the most of our business lines, you just have seen them on the previous slide, we aim to introduce major new platforms every 5 to 7 years and release incremental innovations every, depending on what it is, in the digital space, maybe every 6 months, on the hardware side, maybe every 12 or 18 months. And with each new platform and incremental product introduction, we seek to improve the performance, the quality, customer experience, and cost of producing of our offerings. And one of the things that is very important for us, right, and you heard me talking about the relevance of healthcare provider institutions and their input, is for us really the feedback of those partners, of those customers. And we take this into account when we develop our products, and because this allows us to build better products that really fit the needs of those who use those solutions, who practice healthcare day in and day out. What we also have, and I think that's not to be underestimated, is we are having one of the largest, let's say, installed base in that segment we are playing. And I think that's really a competitive advantage, especially for startup companies, right? I believe we can really help you with a kickstart into the market when we are ready for GTM. Look, Thomas, I don't know if you just grab a coffee, but if we could go to the next slide, a couple more numbers. First, as you can see upper left, we are active and operating in more than 160 countries. Around 4 million of our imaging mobile diagnostic monitoring devices are used globally. We are gathering more than a stunning 50 million data points every day. More than 2 billion medical imaging scans are generated per year by GE devices. And then I think that's also impressive, 230 million sets of exam data are managed in GE systems. Next slide, please. Okay, so look, this one is important. I mean, at least for me to make sure we spend couple of minutes on that page together with you, because this is really, let's say, the technological foundation we are offering as part of this program. So what you can see here is what we call the Edison platform, which consists of maybe 3 major components. On one hand side, on the left, right, for developers, like for you, we are providing a technology stack and developer services for a variety of different, let's say, use cases and needs. And it's primarily all about integrating and assimilating data from disparate, let's say, sources and transform that data to generate insights that support, let's say, clinical, but also operational and financial decision making. So the Edison platform is like an extensive catalog of software tools and developer services to help developers accelerate how they build advanced intelligent applications and lower their barriers to success. That's one thing. In addition to this, what you can see, and we have used the Edison platform in-house at GE Healthcare over the last couple of years to build our own AI-powered solutions. And this is what is shown in the middle. What we call Edison applications are, let's say, software solutions that have been built with the Edison platform, where we basically embedded AI capability into them. There are already more than 50 different intelligent or Edison applications out there, right? You can find them on our AI marketplace, and they are built with Edison, and we are constantly adding new apps to this. And then in addition to this, on the right-hand side, what I would call smart devices, or devices powered by Edison. What this is we have, and maybe I give you 1 or 2 examples. There are some situations, and I think the example on the slide is a good one, right? Where you can see a mobile X-ray machine. Maybe a lot of you, right? And I can see now 30 participants, so this number is growing, which is fantastic. Some of you work in the space of imaging AI or pixel AI, how I call it usually, right? Where you kind of maybe work on things like detecting, segmenting, classifying features on radiology images. So in here, some of those applications are time critical, right? So for example, when you are able, or when you have a solution that detects a pneumothorax in a chest X-ray, this is something you should know as quickly as possible at the point of image acquisition, right? So what we do with smart devices is we put AI into the machine, right? In the example you can see here with our Optima mobile X-ray device, we have put an AI algorithm, a deep learning algorithm, into the machine, which can detect a pneumothorax, right? So a collapsed lung, immediately after the image has been kind of generated, right? And then the healthcare team can act quickly because this is really something time critical. Okay, so this is at a high level Edison. Let's go to the next slide. And just, can you open everything? I don't know why this is animated, maybe my mistake. Look, thank you, Thomas. What I just want to show you here is that from my perspective, healthcare today in a lot of areas is like legacy TV in an age of streaming. Yeah, and what we try to do with Edison is to change this. Yeah, so what you can see at the middle, at the bottom, is what we call Edison Health Link, and I want to spend a few seconds talking about this. So, first of all, I think what we all know on this call is that cloud technology has really given, let's say, rise to new and exciting capabilities and technologies. And one such technology growing in popularity is what is called edge computing. Yeah, and that means instead of like processing, right, in a traditional large-scale data center, this edge computing brings processing and data storage closer to the user. And this has implications around things like, I don't know, bandwidth, latency, response time, security, and so on and so forth. And what we see now is that the healthcare industry is currently going through an evolution, or maybe even a revolution. Healthcare providers, right, are adopting IoT devices and equipment at quite a fast pace, driven largely by COVID-19. And as the quantity of, for example, those IoT devices increase, so too does the requirement for software and technologies that can like orchestrate and manage these devices and the data they produce. So technologies like edge computing are critical in enabling new innovative healthcare solutions. And what we are doing is we are leveraging, right, edge computing through our what we call the Edison Health Link appliance, which allows healthcare professionals, clinicians, nurses to collect, analyze, and then act upon critical data closer to its source. Yeah. Edison Health Link is a modular software platform that can be deployed at the edge, but we can also put it like on-prem or in the cloud to host and integrate a multitude of healthcare applications. And for our three, let's say, use cases, at least for two of them, EHL or Edison Health Link will be a core component. And what we are using in there is Intel's OpenVINO toolkit, right, to enable deep learning and its deployment at the edge. So overall, this Edison Health Link is a customizable compute solution that delivers secure, on-demand access to advanced HIPAA-compliant healthcare solutions across the entire spectrum of the healthcare enterprise. And with this, we can, let's say, aggregate, correlate, analyze, and process, and also display and share data from attached clinical devices, sensors, and health information systems. Let us go to the next page, please. So look here just in summary, right? So this is what the Edison platform is about. We are looking for a variety of different, let's say, data sources, get this data, aggregate this data, bring it onto the Edison platform, and with this, right, provide you a variety of different developer tools and services to do something with that data, right? And to build, I simplify, to build intelligent applications. Next slide, please. So look, coming back more to the program for now, what we have been doing at GE Healthcare so far is we have been running what we call the Edison Accelerator as a startup acceleration program very successfully the last 2 to 3 years in India and China. And our team here from, let's say, the Europe, Middle East, Africa region, we have been watching our partners over there very closely, what they do, learned a lot from them, and then spend time to think about how can we run a program similar like this successful in Europe. There were a couple of things we had to adjust in our concept. One of the things was, right, I mentioned this several times, relationship and partnership with healthcare provider institutions. And now we are starting the first cohort of the Europe, Middle East, Africa, so EMEA Edison Accelerator right now. So you know the scouting has started, and I think the most of you being part of this webinar today have applied for the program. When we go to the next slide, I just want to check, is there another slide talking about our programs? Yes, perfect. So look, on top of this, or in addition to those 3 different acceleration programs, and we are, by the way, about to launch one in Canada and in South America as well very soon. But above this, we have another program at GE Healthcare, what we call the Edison Developer Program, which is more for, let's say, market-ready ISVs. So when you have your regulatory, let's say, when you went through your regulatory journey, when you have an FDA approval or CE mark and so on and so forth, you can join the Edison Developer Program. With this, integrate to the Edison platform, and with this, get to a broad global reach. And what you see here on the slide, just a few of our, let's say, partners that came through us through the Edison Developer Program. Next page, please, Thomas. Look, and just I want to give you very briefly one example. Here you can see companies we worked with in our cohort 1 in the India program. Yeah, and I just want to pick Predible here. Right, they have been building with us. They have been bringing their solution together with our help to a level where it's ready for POC. Yeah, and now we were able, because of the global reach, to give them and find them an opportunity to run a proper pilot or proof of concept in a very well-known university, so academic, large institution in Germany. Yeah, so Predible is working with one of our partners here in Germany to make sure that the solution really is solid and works. Right, the team spent enough time and used the right scientific approach to their AI development. So this is just one example, right, where what you can leverage and what is one of the benefits of working with a large medtech corporate in such a program. Next slide, please.
So I think
over
my turn. I'm just gonna. I can't see in full screen if Ilham and Jane were able to join us. Yes, I can see you here. So I'll go back in full screen. Just wanted to check. But yeah, so just about Wayra. So I'll try to be quick here. Won't take more than 5 minutes. So we've been doing open innovation for a long time. We're actually the open innovation arm of Telefonica. And if you focus on the hubs side of things, where we're currently working, we've got kind of 7 hubs in 10 countries here. You're mostly going to be connected with, of course, the London hub, which we're part of, but also those, of course, in Spain, in Barcelona, Madrid, as well as the one in Munich. So those are the ones which have a kind of a good footprint in healthcare. But if here's a bit of data around our work with startups over the last 10 years now, or actually 10 years in April. So I'm waiting for a party or something. I wasn't invited yet, but I hope so. But yeah, here all the way on the left, Wayra as a whole has invested in over 850 companies. I think in the UK that's over 200, as we're, I think, the largest Wayra hub now. And within the healthcare space specifically, we've invested in 23, and after the programs, these startups, thanks to Wayra, or in part thanks to Wayra, were able to raise another 48 million pounds. So there's a number of big names in here, but I would like to focus quickly on Visionable, which has been working mostly with O2, which is So in the UK, under Telefonica, under the Telefonica brand, we mostly work with O2 and giffgaff, which are Telefonica companies or sister companies. And so Visionable has been working with O2 around kind of connected ambulances. They were able to put a number of cameras in ambulances throughout COVID, and thanks to 5G, we're able to stream, have a live stream of what's happening to the ambulances to hopefully provide better patient outcomes. So they raised last year, I think, 6 million, and are looking to raise 100 million, I think, by the end of this year. So very exciting plans we have with Visionable. But this is just one of the many we are currently working with at Telefonica through kind of open innovation. In terms of the program structure, I'm just going to run through this very quickly, but we have a welcome week where you'll be able to meet all the kind of partner stakeholders within the program, if that's within the GE or as Jan mentioned, with the healthcare providers. And at the end of the program, we have a demo day, which is kind of a celebration of what you have been able to achieve over the last 6 months with GE. In terms of coaching and mentoring, we provide, of course, technical and commercial coaching with GE experts as well as Wayra coaches. And we also have a lot of founders, previous founders, as well as GE experts that will provide more ad hoc type of mentoring sessions if there's some specific issues that you're currently trying to tackle. Because within our network, there's probably other people who've tackled those issues previously or are also doing so at the moment. In terms of business development, Jan touched on that as well with GE. Of course, potential POCs with the healthcare providers, but hopefully those will, after the 6 months, will be able to scale up to fully fledged kind of trials or partnerships. That's the idea, and that's the scale of the opportunity. Afterwards, in terms of investors, since I mentioned that Wayra has been in this space for a very long time, so we have a really good network of investors, mostly institutional investors that we can introduce you while you're fundraising, as well as help you to be investor ready when you pitch in or when we introduce you to these investors. Finally, I'd say that a lot of events, if that's master classes or more smaller group sessions with other founders, such as kind of CTO peer review sessions, CEO peer review sessions, because since you're all kind of working through the same issues, I find personally that these sessions are extremely helpful for founders. And then in terms of just expectations, of course, this whole program will be run virtually, and we're thinking of having about 2 days of commitment at the end of the week for the founders, but that will definitely vary depending on what you're doing. We're going to select 6 startups for this first program. That's 2 per track. So we're going to have a very much ad hoc relationship over the 6 months. So it really depends of where you're currently at and what are your needs. This, I think, is going over the same thing. You'll have a lot of access to data from healthcare providers, mentorship, access to the Edison platform, as well as other services I think that Jan and I already mentioned. Then Jan, do you want to go over, just give a quick overview of each track, and then we'll let Leslie, Ilham to talk about it in more detail.
I mean, we can do this, Thomas. I'm just a little bit concerned about the time. I spent too much, right, and talked too much at the beginning. So, right, we want to also have some capacity later on for Q&A.
Sure.
If that's okay, Ilham, can I just pass the ball already to you to talk maybe a few minutes just on track 3, and then hand over to you, Leslie and Jane, right? Maybe just 2-3 minutes so that we have enough time at the end for Q&A. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. So I'll start with track number 1, which will be focusing on accelerating imaging AI adoption at scale. So what is the problem statement here? So when basically looking to how the AI ecosystem is organized today, we understand that healthcare organizations or even end users are facing a large number of AI startups that are usually specialized on a specific disease's body part or even a care pathway. So approaching this AI ecosystem from an organization perspective and scale, in our humble opinion, is challenging, as these are different vendors with different approaches to the technology, to the user experience, to the implementation models, etc., which is creating complexity and leading to a slow adoption of AI algorithms in the clinical workflow, while actually the AI promise is about improving efficiency and productivity. So to improve that, in terms of objectives that we set up for this track, we would like to focus on 4 areas. If we can move to the next slide, which will be basically about reducing time to implement by automating as much as possible the workflow end-to-end of the AI, and orchestrating basically the AI workflow in the clinical workflow. And for this, we will leverage one of our Edison technology that Jan mentioned earlier, which is our Edison AI orchestrator. Second objectives will definitely focus on unifying the user experience, and here we will have an open approach through integration to really bring the AI findings to the end users in their legacy digital ecosystem and not the opposite. Third objective will be about clinical outcomes, and here we will definitely partner with healthcare providers. I think it has been mentioned already. For this track, we will have 2 healthcare validators, I would say, one academic and one private chain. And last objective here will be about building a process to onboard startups and potentially maybe bring them into a marketplace. So just to finish on this, what we're looking for in terms of AI algorithms, we will be focusing on this track on Pixel AI, so imaging Pixel AI on 3 different care areas or specialties: oncology, cardiology, and orthopedics. So that's I would say in 3 minutes what are the problem statements and the objective of this track.
Amazing.
Over to you, Leslie.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be very difficult for me to talk in 3 minutes because if you know me anytime, I talk for England. So good morning, everyone. I'm the clinician on the programme team. I have been working for a very, very long time clinically in the NHS to try and improve things for patients. And basically, to simplify really where we are in track 2, I want to tell you a little story, and this is a real-time story about what is happening in oncology, which is why I'm so passionate about it. I want to tell you a real-life story about Mary. Mary is a very active 63-year-old mum and grandmum. She's a retired, swims 3 times a week, very active, looks after the children and absolutely adores them, much like I do with mine. And she noticed in October 2018 that she was breathless, and she had a lump just over a collarbone that was sore. And she went to the GP, and they examined her and sent her for an X-ray, and there was nothing evident. So they sent her on the way. 3 months later, she was getting worse. She was getting increasingly breathless. She couldn't swim. When she went up the stairs, she was having difficulties. And she went back to the GP. And the GP this time just examined her chest, did the usual examination, sent her to an asthma clinic. And they put her on a peak flow meter and asked her to do that for 6 weeks at home. And she went home and she was really quite worried because her daughter could breathe into this and get a massive peak flow reading, and she couldn't do it. So she was getting increasingly breathless and was really, really worried. And she went back to the GP again and insisted this time that she go for another X-ray. And this is 2.5 months later. And on that second X-ray, they found that she got fluid on her lung. And the next day she was asked to go to E, where she stomped up and had yet another X-ray. And basically was sent straight away into the lung clinic. And in the lung clinic, this junior registrar actually said to her, "Oh, by the way, Mary, you've got lung cancer." And alone and frightened, she gets sent in to have a biopsy. That biopsy meant that she got stage 3 lung cancer, and her chances of survival for 5 years is 18%. Now, you might actually think that Mary was a one-off case, but she isn't. Almost 40% of the population in the UK with lung cancer present through A&E at stage 3 and 4, and the prognosis is really low. So whilst Jan has told you this wonderful story, and we have got wonderful, the strategy of GE takes us to precision, and that's where we want to go. We want not a one-size-fits-all type of service, but we want a service that is tailored to our risk and tailored to our genomics and tailored to all that wonderful stuff that everybody talks about in the oncology space. But we can't apply that in a system that's chaotic. So if you are interested in joining us to ensure that patients like Mary are seen at the right time, at the right place, by the right person, then please join us on track 2. Thanks ever so much. Jane.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Jane, and I'm not sure quite how I followed that, Leslie. That was fantastic. But I think building on track 2, is track 3. Which again, I suppose is putting Mary and her family front and center in this track and really looking at the patient experience and improving it for them through a pathway. We talk about democratizing data here, making data available, but maybe more importantly, understandable to the patients and to the healthcare professionals to provide insights. The problem statement we have in track 3 is around how can we use AI and digital technologies to capture healthcare consumer experience, as well as develop better integrated care. We all know that capturing outcome and experience measurements are seen as critical moving forward into delivering, as Leslie talked about, precision value-based healthcare. But at the moment, ways of capturing those outcomes, whether it's provider collected or patient reported, have real limitations. So, and as we know, it's thought that digital outcome measurements may be more amenable to standardization, as well as provide greater collection consistency, frequency, and accuracy. So we are looking for 2 companies to join us on our journey in track 3. We're looking for startups and scale-ups who can provide us solutions that gather healthcare consumer information through conversational AI platforms, digital PREMS tools, as well as natural language processing tools. We're looking for to be able to analyze and visualize this healthcare consumer data available within our platform, the Edison platform, on both healthcare provider system and patient-centric decision analytics platforms to inform clinical decision-making, treatment options, and service operations. We're also looking in particular at multimodal proactive alerting of the outputs from AI medical device apps to speed up reporting and treatment decisions. Another area we're looking at is the whole data integration of patient wearables, home monitoring data, and the whole visualization of the data in front of both the patient and healthcare providers. We're lucky, so we're looking for 2 companies, and we're lucky enough to be working with Ribera Salud in Spain and another large academic NHS trust as well. Thank you.
Amazing. I think we'll go straight to the Q&A, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So for I'm currently I'll let you guys, if the attendees go into the chat and start putting in their questions, that would be very useful, and then I'll let Jan and the track leaders answer those as they go. I can't currently see it because I'm taking care of the presentation, so I'll let you, Jan, lead this part.
Yep, absolutely.
We've stunned everybody into silence.
So while we get some questions in, I can just let you guys know that as Jan mentioned, that we started the application process in February, and we're closing it early April. And throughout this period, we're reviewing mostly the track leaders. So Leslie, Jane, and Ilham are reviewing all your applications and sending some feedback before the 5th.
Yeah. So Thomas, thank you. Look, I just see the first questions coming in the chat window, and let me start with answering them. The first one, Laura, from you, thank you very much. I see, how developed do you want the solutions to be when they start? So look, maybe there are 2, let's say, answers to this. One is for our cohort 1, right, which we run this year, right, we are scouting for right now. We are looking more for a little more mature solutions, right? So we are thinking, I usually call this, we do more innovation integration this year rather than innovation generation, right? So maybe if you already have, for example, in the imaging AI space, you have to have a regulatory approval. If you have already started this path, right, to get to CE mark, FDA approval, that is very interesting for us. But in addition to this, the second part of the answer is, if you are building a solution that is novel, differentiating, but maybe still like early, mid-stage, we are also interested. Yeah, so maybe this would be, Laura, the answer to your question. The second one is from, is it Cathal? Who defined the original problem statement? That's a great one. Look, what we have been doing, like, I don't know, 9-10 months back when we started planning this program, on day 1, we decided when we want to run this, when we want to have a chance to be successful with a program like this, we need to get in touch and we need to work with healthcare provider institutions in Europe. So we spent time with a variety of different institutions. 2 we mentioned earlier, Alliance Medical in the UK and Ribera Salud in Spain, but there are more. We just cannot talk about this. There is some signature missing yet, but you will see more healthcare provider institutions we will work with. And we have sat down together with them and defined those problem statements together with them, right? So it's not something that GE as a medtech corporate came up with alone. No, it has been developed with them, so that are validated and relevant problems. The next question I see from Leo is the program for UK companies, European companies, or are you scouting on a global basis? Great question, Leo. So look, what we have said is this is a geographical, let's say, limited program for what we call the EMEA region, Europe, Middle East, Africa, right? We work primarily with healthcare provider institutions in core Europe and the UK, yeah. But we are looking for startup companies that are located in this EMEA region, Europe, Middle East, Africa, right? So if there is a company or some of you are here which are based in India, for example, we would, reach out. We can connect you with our team from the India Accelerator, but we are looking for EMEA companies. The next question is from Kabir. for the imaging track, are you considering to partner only for the AI platform, or would GE be open for considering partnerships with the PACS modality teams, MRI, X-ray, and so on? Ilham, do you want to say something, or shall I say something?
I can maybe start. So for this track, right, what we are looking for is really to basically collaborate with these AI imaging startups and integrate them into a GE AI platform that is about orchestrating AI, right? So at the end of this program, we potentially could definitely build partnerships with these startups that we would have worked with, right? And bring them into different business units. PACS is one, but definitely other business units like modalities can be another one. This is definitely an option for the program. Yeah, do you want to add anything?
No, actually, look, I mean, maybe I just missed a part. Maybe you said this, but what we are trying to do is to like integrate, right, imaging AI algorithms into the radiologist workflow, right? Basically, you have used Kabir this term PACS, so we want to kind of make sure that the algorithms you have built are seamlessly the results of those algorithms, right? The output you get after inferencing, that those results are seamlessly embedded in those PACS systems, being it GE PACS systems or third party. That's what we want to work on. Thank you. So I go to Laura's second question. Does it cost companies anything to be part of the program? So look, I mean, that's a good point. It doesn't, there is no cost attached to it. What we are looking into right now is what do we do when the program is over, right? So, and we are kind of working through this right now. What does this mean? I mean, one example is we have started a great co-development together, right? But after this short amount of 6 months, we are not done. Yeah? So one option is afterwards to kind of continue, right, working together and collaborating until go-to-market, maybe then even do a joint go-to-market, yeah? Or put your solution to the GE's AI marketplace. Or, I mean, there are other options as well. So we work through this right now. I don't have a final and definite answer, but there will be a catalog of options we at some point need to discuss, right? Depending on things like relationship, maybe the progress we made, maybe the quality or the expectations we have on the solution we build together. And based on this, there will be, let's say, a catalog of different options we have to discuss at some point. One more from you, Laura. Do the imaging modalities have to be GE imaging compatible and so on? So definitely no, right? So what we are building across the 3 tracks are vendor agnostic solutions. So when you spend efforts with us in this program, you don't need to be worried that you build solutions that just work with GE healthcare equipment. No, it will be vendor agnostic. Next one from, is it Nicolas or Nicola? Would novel respiratory tract delivery systems with AI behavioral data modeling suitable, or is the Accelerator focused primarily on imaging? That's a great question. So look, we are not focused on imaging completely. We are running 3 tracks, right? One is kind of bring all those imaging algorithms together and seamlessly embed and integrate them into existing radiology workflows. That's what Ilham is working on. I think Leslie talked about this, track 2, and also Jane, right? Track 3 have basically nothing to do with imaging. Right here, it's really about, on one hand side, improving, let's say, the oncology care pathway, track 2. And track 3 is really all about, I would say, patient experience, patient engagement. So Nicolas, what you're mentioning here is maybe not in scope for our cohort 1, but we will very soon start planning and ideation with other healthcare provider institutions about cohort 2 content and use cases and problem statements. So make sure you stay close to us. You will hear more information over the next couple of months, what the content will be of cohort 2, and maybe then this is something where you are focusing on with your work. Thank you. Okay, Thomas, I don't know, did we say we stop at like now, or I just also don't see any more questions?
Yeah, no.
Maybe wrap up with the last on the final slides we had.
Yeah, wrap it up, I think that for the selection process, for the moment, we just need to take care of the early part. But we'll send the slides over to everybody that was on the call. So hopefully they can go through the rest. There's just you can get in touch with me over email here, or even over LinkedIn, whatever, and you can apply to the program on the Wayra website. That is the Wayra UK website. So I think that's it from my side. I don't think there's nothing really to talk about the assessment day, but something I would mention is that when you apply, we'll be in touch if we have any more technical questions about your integration within the tracks, because each track has some criteria. So we'll be in touch usually within the first week, after about a week that you've put in your application. So I think that's it from me. Do you have any final words, Jan?
No, look, absolutely. Look, again, right, if you have questions, reach out. I mean, I think you can find all of us somewhere online, maybe on LinkedIn or so. Drop a note to Thomas. Google EMEA Edison Accelerator. You will also find, beside the Wayra website, you'll find the GE website where you have a contact form where you can reach out to us, ask your questions. We are usually relatively responsive, so whenever there is something you need to know before you apply, just do so and reach out. Thank you very much for your time today.